channel. Today I will be reading a short story I wrote called The Dream Weaver by Leonard James. Before I get started, I want to mention that it is available to view on the Amazon app or to read on the Amazon Kindle app for just $9.99. So if you enjoy hearing this little short story and would like to read it for yourselves, it is available on those two apps. So I hope you guys enjoy. Chapter 1, The Dream. Another day of learning at Mahogany High. Mr. Beverly, my social studies teacher, talked about different symbols, ancient signs, and other mystical markings from another age. Creatures that are known not to exist may one day become a reality, said Mr. Beverly. He was really into mythical creatures, which was my favorite part about his class that helped influence my belief. As he was talking, the bell had rang to dismiss the students. Finally, school is over for the day, I said to myself. I left the school building thinking about today's lesson, but something didn't feel quite right. On my way home, I kept hearing footsteps behind me. I quickly turned around with nobody there, so I continued walking. The noise kept getting louder and louder, forcing me to turn around once again to see that nobody was there. I began to pick up speed as the footsteps began to follow along me. It seems like I cannot run the footsteps, so I guess I will have to defend myself. Okay, Jake, on the count of 3, you're going to turn around and attack. 1, 2, 3. Before I knew it, I turned around in a flash and jumped with my arms out to catch the stalker. Hey, chill out. Hearing those words, I turned around to see my jabroni friend, Jimmy. Dude, what the hell? You scared the crap out of me, I said. Ha ha. You should have seen the look on your face. That never gets old, said Jimmy. For you maybe, I said. How was Mr. Beverly's class? It was interesting. He was talking about mythical creatures and ancient symbols. Oh, you probably thought I was a mythical creature creeping up on you. Haha. It could have been, like Mr. Beverly said. Mythical creatures could be a reality. There's no such thing as mythical creatures, and if there were, they couldn't scare you as bad as I could. Yeah. I better get home before my parents worry. Me too. See ya, said Jimmy. See ya, I said back. We went our separate ways after saying our goodbyes. I soon got home to see my parents making dinner. Hi, honey, how was your day? Said Mom. It was good. Mr. Beverly was talking about ancient symbols and mythical creatures again today. I said, sounds like it was an exciting day, Mom said. Yeah, considering all the books you have about them, said Dad. He has a point though. My favorite interest is being taught in my least favorite place to be. Mr. Beverly seemed to be just as interested in the mythical world as I was. The only difference is he seems to know more than me. My folks and I sat down at the dinner table. They were silent throughout almost the whole time we ate, and I know exactly why. A few days ago, my brother called and said he would be coming home due to a few mysterious disappearances on campus. It has been a while since we have heard from Jack, my brother, after he went to college several months ago. My parents weren't too concerned, considering that Jack was very independent and loved to be on his own. But that call a week ago has made them all flustered and paranoid for his safety. Well, guess what? It has been a week since he called, and we haven't heard anything from him since. You couldn't imagine how this set my parents into a massive panic mode. They have been doing everything they could, including calling him and even calling the college, but they were met with dead ends. We were all afraid that something bad had happened to him, which resulted in them being extra paranoid towards me. They told me to come straight home after school, and I couldn't blame them because for all I know, I could be next. After dinner, I went up to my room and did some processing about the situation. To be honest, I practically spent the whole time hoping and praying that my brother would be okay. I kept repeating it to myself. My brother will be okay. My brother will be okay. My brother will be okay. All of a sudden, I woke and realized that I fell asleep. I stretched my arms and rubbed my eyes while I let out a faint yawn. However, the minute I opened them, I knew I had to have been dreaming. I wasn't in my room. I was surrounded by trees and bushes in a forest. I didn't know where I was, and I don't ask why, but I decided to explore the forest. I wandered slowly into the forest, observing my surroundings when I heard a voice. Join us, join us. I immediately took a step back and heard the voice coming closer. Join us, join us. Without a second thought, I began to run as fast as I could to get far away from the menacing voice. I found the courage to look back to see if I was being followed when, bam, I ran into a sign causing me to fall flat on the ground. I began to pick myself up when I saw a mysterious figure wearing a black cloak. The figure kept moving closer and closer as I tried to back away. Just when I thought I was finished, the cloak figure passed and began to lift the cloak. I would have never guessed who was under it. Jack? My eyes stood completely still, trying to process the information that I was right in front of me. I only got to see him for only a second before, all of a sudden, I was pulled away from the forest and the image began to fade away. I breathed heavily, looking at my surroundings to realize that I was back in my room. My heart was still pumping and my head was still pounding. So many thoughts were racing through my head, wondering what just happened. Chapter 2, Road Trip. I took a deep breath, trying to grasp what I just witnessed. Could it be real, or was it just a dream? My mind was fumbling over the images in my dreams. I do remember the sign in the woods. It said something like Elwood Crest Forest. I quickly wrote down the name and put it in my pocket for safekeeping. And I heard a knock at the door. Rise and shine, said Mom. I turned around to look at my alarm clock, and it read 7 a.m. Crap, I overslept. I quickly got dressed, brushed my teeth, and ate breakfast before heading to school. While I was walking, I got another visit from you-know-who. Nice try. You didn't get me this time, I said. Just wait until next time. So you signed for Mr. Beverly's class today? Asked Jimmy. Yeah. I don't know what it is about his class, but when he talks about these different creatures and started to hesitate. And what? Asked Jimmy. This is going to sound weird, but I had a dream about my brother. I was in this forest and I kept hearing the words, join us, join us. For real? Said Jimmy. Yeah, it felt real, like I was actually there. Well, it was just a dream, right? I don't know, but I saw this in my dream, Elwood Crest Forest. I got it off of a sign in the woods from my dreams. Hold on. You're not thinking of what I think you're thinking, are you? Yep. We said we go on a road trip. Chapter 3, A Bad Dream. What do you mean go on a road trip? Asked Jimmy. I mean, we should go to the forest and investigate. That dream I had felt way too real. Hopefully it's that and not worse, said Jimmy. Exactly, so are you in? Sure, why not? I could use some excitement. Good. After school, we'll get going. Wait, hold on. What about our parents? Asked Jimmy. I was thinking of an idea when it hit me. See that school flyer? Yeah, you can tell our parents that we're participating in the camping trip with Mr. Ramirez. It sounds like a good idea. And we can meet back to school after gearing up for the trip, said Jimmy. Sounds good, I replied. After talking, we went to our classes, which seemed boring, considering the small expedition me and Jimmy were planning. However, it wasn't long before I headed to my last class of the day. You guessed it, Mr. Beverly's. Today's class will be talking about a mythical creature called a dream weaver. They are beings who have the power to subconsciously throw themselves into other people's dreams. Not only that, they're able to control people from within their dreams and could theoretically transcend their bodies into spirits through concentration or sleep, said Mr. Beverly. That statement literally got my attention. I started wondering if what Mr. Beverly said could be connected to my weird dreams. Before I knew it, the bell had rang, which meant it was time to get ready for our little trip. I met Jimmy at the same spot we discussed our plan earlier today. Let me just say that it was a little hard to convince my folks to let me go on this trip due to my brother's appearance, but they reluctantly let me go on the condition that I be careful. All that was left to do was to get some supplies, so we headed for the store for essential items that we may need. Once we were finished getting the stuff, we decided to grab something to eat. While leading, I looked up Elsewood Crest Forest to find out where we would be going. According to Google Maps, the forest was about 2 hours away from here. I looked at the information about the forest, and based on what it said, there have been a lot of people going missing near that area. Now I definitely knew we were going in the right direction. After finishing our food, we hailed a cab to take us there. On the way there, I got a little worried about what we might face in those woods. This might be bad to consider now, but if we are in over our heads on trying to locate my brother. For all I know, he might not be there. We could even get ourselves killed. The worst part was that what if what Mr. Beverly said was real? Dude, you alright? Asked Jimmy. Yeah, I'm just thinking about something in Mr. Beverly's class. What is it? He talked about a mythical creature called a dream weaver, a being that is capable of casting their subconscious into people's dreams and can even transcend their bodies into spirits through concentration and sleep. What does that have to do with anything? Asked Jimmy. Okay, don't laugh. But I think that I may be dream weaver. Jimmy sat there with a surprised look on his face, like I just told him a story full of crap. You're serious? Jimmy said reluctantly. Well, I told you it didn't really feel like a dream. It felt like I was actually there. Even if that may be true, how come you didn't have any dreams like this one before? I don't know, but I think it might have something to do with those voices I heard in my dream. Well, I hope a fraction of what you're saying is true, because I don't want to have risk lying to my parents for nothing, said Jimmy. I know it sounded crazy, but it actually felt like I was there. I wish I had more answers. I guess for now I better ease it before I really start talking like a crazy ass person. Most of the time there was complete silence in the cab, which I really needed so that I could comprehend all that has happened. All I can think about now is knowing that I'm intentionally riding in the middle trees, based on a damn dream I had. Passing down the road, I saw a mysterious figure ahead. I quickly rubbed my eyes in case I was hallucinating, and as I suspected, the figure was gone. I told Jimmy what I saw, but as you would think, he thought I was just imagining it. He advised me to try and get some sleep, to which I agreed. I closing my eyes and kept them closed for some time. However, I was starting to regret it once I heard the voices yet again. Join us! Join us! I tried to wake myself up, but it was no use. The voices sounded like they were close, and don't ask me why, but I decided to follow it. As I walked through the chilling forest, I began to see a light in the distance. As I approached it, I made sure to stay hidden from what could have been something insane. I got closer, and to my surprise, I saw a horde of figures wearing mysterious clothes. It looked like they were discussing something, but I couldn't make out what they were saying. I was trying to get a little bit closer, but at the moment I stepped on a stick. At that moment, the figures turned towards my direction and began pursuing me. Not even knowing it, but my body instantly reacted and started to take off like a fighter jet going 100 miles per hour. Here I am running through some eerie forest and about to be captured by some sort of cult. As I kept running, I was trying to think of an escape plan, but before I knew it, I had hit a dead end. I thought this was going to be the end of me as the group closed in on me saying, "Join us, join us." My body became tense, and as a last-ditch effort, I began to shout, being covered in darkness by the shadows of the cult closing in. "Wake up," said Jimmy. I jumped up, thankful that I was still in the cab. I was pretty sure that after that nightmare, I would never be able to go back to sleep again. "Let me guess, another bad dream?" asked Jimmy. "You have no idea. Why did you wake me anyway?" "We're here." Chapter 4, No Escape. Have you ever had the feeling that you were about to have a heart attack? Well, this is a feeling that makes me have second thoughts about this whole idea. Here we are, Elkwood Crest Forest. "Is this the right place for your dream?" asked Jimmy. "Looks like it, except it looked more dark in the woods in my dreams, but the sign over there says otherwise." We walked slowly in the dreaded forest, searching for any signs of my brother. "Did your dream give any clues to where he might be?" "No, but I know where he's here. I know he's here. I can feel it." I paused to the sound of footsteps nearby. "What's that?" Jimmy whispered. "I don't know." The sound suddenly stopped for a second. Jimmy and I looked at each other intensely with the signal to run, but before we knew it, a cloaked figure was standing right behind us. "Come on, dude, let's get the hell out of here," shouted Jimmy, grabbing my arm. We ran deep into the woods, trying to escape the clutches of the cloaked figure. I turned around to see if it was following us, which thank God it wasn't. "Stop, he's not following us," I told Jimmy. "Who is that thing in the cloak?" In my dreams, it was my brother, but I don't think that was him this time. "What do you mean you don't think that was him?" When I looked up this place, I saw that not only my brother was missing, but other people were as well, and they went missing near this area. Not only that, but I saw a bunch of them in my dream. "You didn't think to tell me this earlier?" "Well, it slipped my mind." "So what are you saying?" said Jimmy. "I don't think that was the only cloaked figure." Suddenly, we found ourselves surrounded with no chance of escape. Chapter 5, The Real Deal. "Oh my God, this is real. This is the real deal," said Jimmy. "Join us. Join us," said the cloaked figures. "I told you I was telling the truth. Screw that, we need to get the hell out of here." "I'm afraid you two aren't going anywhere," said a mysterious voice. "Show yourself," I shouted back. The The cloaked figures began to move aside from whom I assume is their leader. A cloaked figure began walking in the path that others had made, and it was walking straight towards us. The cloaked figure stopped just a few feet from us and lifted the hood off the cloak. To our utter shock, we saw none other than Mr. Beverly standing there right before us. I can't believe it. It was you this whole time? I shouted in shock. Oh, come on, Jake. You knew it was me from when I talked about those mythical creatures, especially Dreamweavers. I would say I was surprised to find out that you were able to trace my location with that untapped power such as yours, said Mr. Beverly. So I am a Dreamweaver. Indeed, that's why I dropped those hints in class earlier today. What about my brother? I scowled. Yes, he's just like you, curious and determined. But the only difference between the two of you is that he's not a Dreamweaver. I needed your brother to lure you here so that you may join me in an uprising against humanity by taking control of them. I don't think so. I think your brother would say otherwise. Before I knew it, another cloaked figure appeared in front of us. This time, it was my brother, but something seemed different about him. He looked like an empty shell. Bro, wake up, I shouted. But it was no use. He was under his control. My friend and I would stop you. Not exactly, started Jimmy. What? I said confused. Come on, man, stop being so naive. Do you really think that I would have dropped everything just to come in some forest following a damn hunch you had about your brother? What are you talking about? It's over, Jake. There's no way to go, said Jimmy. Jimmy, wake up. You're under his control. I beg to differ. Now that I have your complete attention, I can inform you on my plan. I turned around. I tuned him out as he was going over his plan. I was too busy trying to plan an escape. You see, it's very rare for a Dreamweaver to be born from human parents, so I figured you must be the descendant of one. As Mr. Beverly kept going on and on, I decided to try and escape. I started to shove my way through the group. However, my escape didn't last long as I began to feel sleepy. I realized that Mr. Beverly was putting me to sleep. The next thing I remember seeing is nothing but darkness. Chapter 6, The Battle. I woke up in a strange place to find out that I was in shackles. Where am I? I asked furiously. You're in our cave where we live as outcasts, and now this is where you'll live, said Mr. Beverly. With that being said, Mr. Beverly disappeared. I couldn't believe what was happening. My brother is under his control and so is my best friend. I had to get out of here. All I need to do is break free of my shackles. Good thing there's rock. I hastily used the rock to break the chains. Once I was free, I began to make my way out of the cave. I needed to figure out a way to free everybody from Beverly's spell. If I'm a Dreamweaver, I must have the same power as him. If this was true, then I would need to act fast before he senses what I'm doing. I started to concentrate and focus my mind on the task. All of a sudden, I found myself in darkness. I started to hear random thoughts, but quickly realized that I must have been inside the victims' heads. So I wasted no time in trying to free them. I started to focus all my energy into breaking the spell. I felt an overwhelming sudden surge of power followed by blinding light. I opened my eyes to see the victims on the ground. One by one, they started to get up, dazed and confused on what had happened. I pulled myself together and searched for Jimmy. I began searching through the confused crowds and finally found him. Jimmy? Jimmy, you all right? I answered in a hurry. Yeah. A little dizzy, but I'm fine. What happened? Short story, you and these people are under Mr. Beverly's control, who turns out to be a Dreamweaver. For real? Yep. And guess what else? You're a Dreamweaver too? How did you? I had a feeling. Well, now that you're safe, I need to try and free my brother. For some reason, I couldn't sense him when I released you off from Beverly's spell. By all means, go right ahead, said Jimmy. I closed my eyes and concentrated on my brother's thoughts, trying to free him from the spell. I was inside his head, and I was about to try and free him. But something didn't seem right. I found myself surrounded by bleak gray clouds filled with darkness. I see you managed to set everyone free. I turned around and faced Beverly. What are you doing in here? You're not going anywhere. I dealt with too much to see my plan fail. And I can tell you right now, it's not easy to control so many people at once. First, those trespassers, your friend, even that brother of yours was a tool to control. It doesn't matter because you're here now. Get out of my brother's head. I scowled. Never. Fine, then I'll make you leave. I ran towards him to get the first punch, but he disappeared in a puff of smoke. I turned behind me and saw him coming towards me at full speed. I quickly dodged it and managed to strike him back. He went off balance, but managed to get back up for another attack. He went for the attack, which caught me off guard, and I fell back. Join me or die. Never. Fine, have it your way. With saying that, he raised his hand for his scythe to appear in his grasp. He used the scythe to try and cut me in half, moving the weapon in all sorts of directions. As I was dodging his attacks, I quickly realized something. If he is able to create weapons, then so should I. I quickly thought of a sword. It immediately appeared in my hand. I also imagined some armor for protection. With my weapons and armor assembled, I quickly prepared myself for another round with Beverly. He came at me with no warning, slashing his scythe in my direction. I met the scythe with my sword, making the two weapons clash with one another. I was able to gain an advantage, pushing him away at a great distance with troubling force. As you can imagine, that still wasn't enough. He got back up with his scythe and charged at me. But for some reason, he seemed to be a little weak. I realized that he was using up all of the power, so I decided to take advantage of it. Just give up. You'll never defeat me. I don't think so. He ran towards me while I was waiting for the perfect moment to attack. As he was in position, I lunged to the left and made my strike. He howled in pain when I cut him with my sword, and as I looked back, he didn't look so good. His body, or his spirit, looked like it was about to disintegrate into ashes. So with one final move, I swung my sword for the final blow. With that blow, Beverly's body completely turned into ash. Before he completely disappeared, he spoke his last words, saying that he shall return. Before I knew it, I was back in the forest. Are you okay? Said Jimmy. I'm all right, believe it or not, but I just defeated Beverly. Honestly, that's the most believable thing I heard all day. Jimmy said, laughing. Where am I? Asked Jack. I rushed to his aid to make sure he was okay. It's a long story. I'm just glad you're back, I said with a faint laugh. I helped my brother up by trying to be as gentle as possible when I noticed that Jimmy was trying to get my attention. I told my brother that I would be right back, and I went to go see what he wanted. What's up? I just wanted to say thank you again for saving me. I've been under Beverly's control ever since the other day. No problem. In all honesty, I was surprised that I beat him. I guess controlling all those people really wore him out. I guess so. What will you do if he comes back? Jimmy asked. I don't know. But now that I know what I am, I'll make sure I'm better prepared for the next battle. Sounds good, says Jimmy. That being said, we made sure that everybody got out of here safely, and me, Jimmy, and my brother headed home. It's been a month since that whole battle took place now. My brother is back safely, which my parents were super grateful for. He explained to them how he and others were kidnapped, but decided to leave the part out about barely controlling everybody. Nonetheless, they were just happy to have him back. Me, him, and Jimmy decided to go out and have some fun. On the way there, we discussed a possible return to Beverly. I still can't believe you defeated that maniac, Jack said. He sure did. He saved all of our bucks out there, Jimmy said. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I'm glad things are starting to get back to normal, said Jack. I hear that, said Jimmy. Me too, for now. The end. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that little short story. If you guys liked it, I hope you guys can like and subscribe. And if you like more content like this, I'll be happy to post more.